claim what is that goal, because I'm going to take you through a process. We're at the end of April. There's still a lot of time left to create and fulfill those things on our vision boards. And part of what can get us, off track is because we have too many things that we're making a priority, or we've let other things that aren't that main goal take the focus and resources and attention. So Susan, yours is also to be an author and a writer. Do either of you that shared already want to be even more specific? Like, is there a particular project that you want to have done by the end of the year? A book that you're working on, or article? Because, being a writer and author can look like so many cool things. We can blog, we can write articles, we can write books. So I'd love to hear if you feel comfortable sharing even more specifically, because I'll show you how this process, this sort of framework that we're doing works. And if you haven't shared yet, please feel free, if you want to put your number one goal into the chat. Paid speaking opportunities. So that's what Margie's going for. She's got the best-selling book now. She's a triple threat, right? She gets to focus on paid speaking. That's awesome. Fantastic. Okay. So now we have this goal, and we get to find out if there's a gap between where we are now. Like, just to use Margie, if someone's goal is paid speaking, Margie could say, she could put a number to that. She could say, I want to have one paid speaking engagement a month for the rest of the year. So that would be May, June, 7 months, right? So I want 7 paid speaking engagements by the end of the year. She might say 3, give herself some time to network and pitch, right? But we want to drill it down. Okay, so Susan is finishing her book, right? She's just like, that's my, and not to limit you, Margie, it can be more than, I could say 7 or more. But what we want to do is look at what does it take to overcome the gap? Margie's a total action taker, so she's already on it and has a plan and, whatever. But like, I want us all to think about what's it going to take between now and the end of the year to finish that book, Susan. Those of you that are wanting to be, published authors, right? Like, okay, there's steps. It's like, I got to finish the book, or, find a publisher, those different things, right? So we want to look at what is the goal? What's the gap, if there is one? And then what have we already tried? So I'd love to see in the chat, like, what has everybody already done towards their goal? Because I'm sure that you've taken action, right? So those of you that are working on your books, have you set up like a writing schedule? Did you get an accountability partner? Did you send yourself reminders on your phone that it's writing time? Like, let's put in the chat, what have you done so far? A, so we can celebrate that you are taking action, and B, so we know what's already in play, and then what can we add to it, right? So just, and if you're doing this alongside us on social, you can put it in the comments. You can also write it down. So, okay, great. So Widad, you said, I force myself to write every day. So you've made a practice of writing every day. Great. That's amazing. That is a huge, enormous, going pro breakthrough place to be. So anyone else, if you want to put, what have you already done to work towards this goal? And then we get to see, what's feeling like it's in the way, so we can create a shift. You might just be cooking right along. You might be like, I'm on fire. I'm writing every day and I'm going to finish. So then, you might not need anything extra added to that action plan. Sometimes I'm going for a goal. I'm doing certain things, but it's not working at the pace I want or creating the results I want. So then I get to evaluate, is there something else I want to add? Is there something I want to swap? This is just the practice we can go through to get really dialed in, so we don't get to November, be like, oh, one more year of me wanting to finish the book, or one more year of me wanting to go out and speak, or one more year. We want to get right in. Like, you're on an airplane, you're constantly course correcting, and we're doing some vision correcting today. All right. So if anyone else wants to share anything on that, please feel free. You can take yourself through this process. So step 1 is just like, what is that number one priority? What have I already been doing to work towards it? Now, is there anything that feels in the way? Is it time? Is it motivation? Is it mindset? Like you're doubting yourself? Is it, there's a piece that you don't have that you need, if it's about publishing the book and you don't have a publisher yet, like if there is anything, let's get it out in the open and identify it, because the obstacle is going to be the way through. Susan, you had an accountability partner and finished half the book. And okay, I love Susan. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for sharing. Susan had an accountability partner, got half the book done, lost the accountability partner, and it hasn't continued at the same pace. So the great thing, Susan, is that you now know there's something that does work for you. So you could, Susan, or any of us could say, okay, by the end of tomorrow, I'm getting a new accountability partner, because I know that I wrote the first half of the book when I had that structure. And the more busy you get, the more productive you are. Yep, absolutely. I have found that too. Now that I'm a mom and run 2 businesses and I'm writing books, and I'm married and I have family that I, support, it's like I actually am way more productive because I know how to get more done in 15 minutes than I used to do in 5 hours when I had all this free time. Right. So I love that. So we get to find what's the obstacle? Maybe for Susan, thank you. I'm just using it as an example since you were kind enough to share. The obstacle is you don't have that accountability right now. So the way is to find someone through the lounge, through, our Facebook group. If you're coming to the New Orleans Write and Grow Rich retreat next week, there'll be 100 plus of us together who are all doing this, and you get to get another accountability partner. That gets to be priority 1. Those of you that maybe don't have a fix, like Susan, you don't know the thing that's going to work. What I do next is find who is doing it, who in the world is getting their book written in this case. Or if it's for me, I want to scale my company in a certain way, and I'm running up against, I don't get in front of enough people. Well, who is in front of enough people and what did they do to get there? Right. So success leaves clues. That's the principle that we get to use to let the obstacle be the way. Here's the wall I'm facing. So who broke through the wall? I can read about them. I can listen to interviews. I can look at their social media. If I happen to know someone, I can even ask them directly, because the answer is already here. The answer to any challenge we face is in our ecosystem. It's in our atmosphere. And so it's like, who's doing it in a way? Who's writing a book a year? I was like, how do these people write a book every year? It takes me forever. It takes me years. And now I can do 2 books a year. We'll see where I end up at the end of this year. And if I do 1 or 2, but, I can do 2 books a year now because I was able to find out. I started studying the people who were doing 2 books a year and looking at how did they set up their time and what help did they have and what kinds of books were they writing. Susan Sanchez, I volunteer to speak at church meetings and write for a book. I finished the outline, organizing each day to keep the momentum going. Otherwise, I get stuck when I'm cluttered. Yeah. So that's about being prepared, being proactive, setting up the structures ahead of time. Bravo, Susan Sanchez. That's awesome. That's amazing. Great job. So once we look at what's the goal, what have I done so far? What are the obstacles, if there are any? Who's overcome those obstacles so that I can use their playbook and overcome my version? And then we continue taking the action, right? We let it be a priority, because how many, if you're on social or here in Zoom, how many of you have faced, there's distractions? There's other people pulling at you. There's other challenges, right? And whether it's your child needs more attention, or you have to move, or you got invited, which is wonderful, on a huge trip, but then you're not writing, there's just things, right, that can become more important. So by doing this sort of check every week, every month, no less than once a month, what's the goal? What am I doing to achieve it? What's in the way? What's the solution to my challenge? And then recommitting. This is the cycle we can go through. And it seems very obvious and simple, but I don't know about anybody else, but there were times when months would go by, let alone weeks. And suddenly I'm way off that goal. It's like, oh, I said I was going to get this book done by this date, and now I'm way, way off. So if we do this more frequently, that's why I want to do it in the lounge today and invite everyone. Just put me in the chat if you're willing to check in every week for the next month, the beginning of the week. What is most important? What do I have in place to support me? What could be an obstacle? Who has solved this obstacle? And then commit to just really commit to making that the priority. Put me in the chat or the comments if you're willing to do that. Like, try it out. Does your productivity increase when you are checking in every single week on your vision? Yeah, Courtney, mine does. My productivity drastically increases if I'm even accountable to myself with this practice. Because then I can say, ooh, last week I really got off. I let this happen, or I had this other commitment. My child was in a thing at school and I had to be there for a whole day. But what am I going to do this week? What do I get to do? So great. Okay. Love this. I love this. I love seeing the me's. Like, we're going to do this together. What I want to switch to now is something really cool that happens when we make the real priority the priority. So sometimes the reward of just knowing we followed through on something is all above and beyond anything we can hope for anyway, right? It's like so good for our soul and our self-esteem to say, like, I said this mattered and I let it matter. I said my writing mattered and I actually prioritized it and I have it to share with the world, or I've moved it forward, right? Sometimes we are like, also, there are other incredible gifts that come out of taking action on the thing that's really the biggest priority. You know, we're putting out a signal that says our vision is worth it. Our message matters. That we can set a goal, right? Like, trust building with ourselves is like a cool byproduct. Put trust in the chat or comments if that is empowering for you to like build trust. It's like, I set a vision. I went for it. I dedicated myself. I course corrected. I didn't do it perfectly. And now I'm seeing like that I went all the way. Like, this is really exciting. So there's all kinds of things. And the kind of mystical thing that happens for me is what I call the processional effect. So the processional effect is a term I heard from a coach named Eric Lofholm many years ago. And something zinged in my brain when he explained this phenomenon. And I've worked with it ever since. I teach it, I observe it, I track it. And the processional effect says that every time we take a positive, empowering action toward our vision, that we will create success and abundance, period. So we taught this at Speak and Grow Rich last week. Those of you that did our two-day workshop, when we completely dedicate ourselves to taking the actions, whatever you come up with in that inventory we just did, to keep focused on your priority, there will be a positive result in the form of success and abundance for you. And it may not come in a linear way. So the example of this is like Margie shared, and many of you were with me last week training on you're opening up to booking lots of speaking engagements, paid speaking engagements where you can attract clients, you can sell your books, all kinds of things. So when you engage in that, when you go on that adventure of becoming a speaker, it involves reaching out to people, making relationships, maybe going to their events, being of service to their mission and vision, developing a connection, and then pitching yourself, right? So those are all actions that we take before the result of, I booked this speaking engagement, happens. And what's really exciting to me is I might reach out to 10 people about speaking and none of them get back to me. Don't hear a word, it's just like, if I'm cold, it's not someone I have a relationship with yet. I could just be pitching to random, conferences, companies, whatever it is. And maybe no one gets back to me. I send them all out. I'm so proud of myself. Nothing. Now, in the old me, 10 years ago, would just say, oh, no one wants to hear what I have to say. My pitch sucks. I'd feel shame. I would feel rejected. I would feel like I'm just invisible, like no one's even writing me back. I'd have a whole bunch of stuff going on. None of it good about that experience. But because of processional effect, I don't give it a second thought. And typically what happens is within 24, 48 hours, suddenly I've got, out of nowhere, someone has reached out. Sometimes someone I never even pitched invites me to come speak. Hey, can I fly you down? Can we pay you to come speak to our group? Out of nowhere. I didn't pitch them. I maybe never even heard of them. They saw something I posted, or someone they knew came to an event that I gave. And out of nowhere, it's not nowhere, it's processional effect. And it works that way every day we sit down to write. It works that way every time we are of service to someone else's vision. I had a client who made it was a colleague of mine, and we did some coaching together. And he made it his mission one year just to be an incredible literary citizen. Said, I'm going to go to every book launch for anyone I know who has a book coming out. I'm going to go to their launch. I'm going to bring people. I'm going to buy their books. I'm going to post about their books on social media. I'm going to, just be, and I'm going to show up for people and celebrate their success. He was having a really hard time in his career. He almost gotten an agent. It fell through. And he was like, I am just focused on like giving to other writers in the community. And some point a few months into this practice, he'd had some lovely interactions, and it felt good to, celebrate other people. He got out of himself, and he sits next to a nice woman, and they're chatting and having a lovely conversation. And she says, "Oh, are you a writer as well?" He says, "I am. I have a novel that I'm shopping around." And she said, "Well, I'm an agent. I'd love to read it. I'd love to please send it to me. Here's my email." He sends her the email. And then that's how he got his break and his agent and his publisher. Yes, it is pay it forward, right? So the point is, like, he wasn't, wasting his time. We want to go from transactional relationship, right? Transactional interactions to relational interactions. Processional effect is a relational interaction with the universe. In my opinion, that's not how Erica taught it, but what I've come to believe, that it is a powerful relational experience with the universe. We just know action is the most important thing. Outcome it's a result, not the goal. When we make the goal action toward our vision, when Margie makes the goal making relationships and pitching herself as a speaker, look, she's already flying to the US to attend 2 conferences, right? Margie will be up on our stage in New Orleans next week with her new book. So already like that, there are things happening. Margie's getting visibility. She's going to have some clip, like a nice picture of her speaking. Okay. So all kinds of cool things happen. Processional effect. This is what I want everybody in the lounge to be. This is what I want us to focus on this week. Laser intention. What are the actions I can take toward my vision? And know that whether we think it was a great writing day, or anyone commented on the social media thing we posted, or anyone got back to us on speaking, that we have moved our impact, our contribution, and our income forward, period. And when we start feeding, remember, our reticular activating system is going to show us evidence of whatever we feed it. So if we feed it, I suck, no one likes what I have to say, I'm always getting rejected, then we're going to experience a lot more of that. Not because of some woo-woo weird thing, but just like that part of our brain has to filter out 98% of what's happening in the world, because there's just way too much. I've heard now it's like 60 something impressions per second that's coming at us. So it has to filter most of it out. And so if we put in processional, like every time I take an action, this is what happens. Good things come to me, abundance comes to me, opportunities come to me. And so it is, right? This isn't woo-woo. It's just physics. It's just the brain it's going to filter and case build for whatever we're feeding it. So what I'm offering you to feed it is that the processional effect is real. I didn't know if it was real. I didn't know if he was just talking a bunch of coaching BS. But I liked the idea. I liked the idea of me not focusing on who's getting back to me, or how good the writing session was, or if I wrote as many words as I wanted. And it got me focused on just my job is the action. My job is the focus. My job is to take like, what's the next step? And then the next and the next. And processional effect brings in the good, right? And so we don't have to worry if this person said no, or this person ghosted, or this post didn't get any likes. By continuing to powerfully put our message in the world and say, I know my work is valuable. I'm going to proceed as if this book will be successful. I'm going to proceed as if I'm an in-demand speaker. And that's the energy, that's my come from, and that's the actions I'm taking. It must return to us. And isn't it fun to like think of it like a treasure hunt. It's like, hey, I'm going to send out these 100 things and then we'll see what happens. Right? I don't know if any of these people will hire me or get back to me or book me or publish my work, but I do know that I have moved my vision forward. I do know that I have increased my contribution to the world and the abundance that's coming back to me, financial and otherwise, because of the processional effect. So P in the chat and comments, if you're going to play with this week. Some of you have trained with me in Thought Leader Academy for a long time. We've talked about this many times. You've done other trainings. Some of you, this might be a new game that you get to play. Whether you're a seasoned processional effect practitioner or you're hearing about this for the first time, awesome. I love this group. Yes. Woo! I'm loving it, right? We get to put this into motion for ourselves. It's always happening. But the final piece I want to offer to everybody today is like, are you willing to track it? Like track your actions and then track the cool stuff that shows up, because so many times, like the desired outcome, I think it's great to future pace. Like, what's the desired outcome? And then it's not the exact desired outcome we think, but then something even better. So I'm gonna end this lounge with a story and then a question. So my story is I got invited to speak at a conference last week. It was really lovely. They flew me in, and we did prepared the presentation. And it was really wonderful people that I got to see, and just delightful. And I had this vision of really being like in motion. Hey, Lisa Taylor, I see some of your faces pop up. This is so good. Hi, Courtney. And I had this vision of just being in motion, right? I just wanted to kind of like be with people. And I got to the room and the microphone was behind a podium and it was completely wound and anchored into the floor. So there was like no way, it wasn't wireless. The tech people weren't able to secure like a lavalier or a different way to do it. It was hooked up to this. And so my kind of vision for being able to be really like with people and connecting and like, I wanted, because they said the room sold out. So I really wanted to like be there. And suddenly I have exactly what I don't want, which is a podium between me and the people that I'm there with. It's a awkward, like the lighting was, so I thought, oh, like I had this story start. It's not going to be dynamic. It's not going to be impactful. Like, and then I just like, what am I going to do? Rip this mic off the floor and walk around? I mean, it's like, it is what it is. And so then I said, well, then I get to learn how to be super connected from behind a podium, even though I have a story that's feels formal and academic and like not what I wanted. Right. So I did the best job I could. And, anyone who speaks, right. You don't know, like, sometimes in the moment you get a vibe, you see people nod or people stand up at the end and, like there was good energy for sure. But, I don't know how it lands. I've never met these people before in my life. So I have no idea if it's what they were hoping to get out of the talk. And I'm feeling a little like, oh, and in the hallway, as we moved to the next, sessions and things that were going on that day, this man comes up to me who'd presented in a different room earlier. He said, oh, I couldn't go to your thing. I heard you were coming to present. I loved I wish I could have been there. And he said, but I know that I need to work with you. Like this guy didn't even come to the talk. He didn't even hear anything. He just knew like the topic and said, he looked me up online. But the point, this is what I'm saying, processional effect. If I made it about someone in the room has to come up to me, right? If I had a whole story about like how the talk, then I don't know. But because I practice processional effect, I know that mic being behind the podium was my perfect opportunity to learn how to create powerful engagement, even when I feel like there's this formality that I don't particularly like and isn't my style. And then processional effect is, and I did get other people after, you know what I mean? Like I have made connections and all of those things are wonderful, but that is an example. That person wasn't even in the room, not even in the room. And so we have no idea where the opportunities come from. Who we are really here to serve is going to find us. They're going to magnetize to us. And so we get to get out of the outcome, which was, I want to be in the room, walk in the room with my TEDx style, pacing and whatever. It's like, nope, that's not how this one's going to be. Can I let go of a story around it? Can I use it as an opportunity to become even more useful and of service wherever I'm placed? And then let go of what I think the linear outcomes and then let those opportunities, because the opportunities are already here. every single one of you, the opportunities are already here. And so for me, when I practice processional effect, I'm much more awake to them. I'm excited because I know that doesn't matter if anyone replies to that email I send, or the pitch for the speaking engagement, or the submission for my writing, because I have taken the action. A really yummy, delicious, wonderful, abundant opportunity and manifestation is here for me, and it's here for you. So my question is, what do you want to do with it this week? Where are you going to apply thinking about processional effect? I'd love to hear in the comments and chat. Are you going to be conscious of it and track the actions you take and then get excited about the surprise opportunities? Are you going to even just track your actions? How many words, how many minutes you write, how many pitches you send, like whatever you're working on in your thought leadership, right? Are you going to track more this week because of this? Are you going to be open to the surprise out of nowhere, which now you know is straight out of the processional effect? Or are you going to use the inventory we did at the beginning? If you jumped on late, you can just grab the replay after this and see the inventory process we went through. What's the most important goal? What are we doing already? What's in the way? And what's the solve, right? So I would love to hear from everybody, just what's an action you're going to take based on today's lounge. We don't come here just to chit chat in the lounge, right? We're here to get together on Mondays and turn up the volume on our week. Let's like turn up the volume on our focus, our intention, our faith, our action. And Paige, I love this. Paige, you're going to do networking, follow-up calls, and asking. Yes, high five to Paige. Lisa is committed to getting in action with lives and pages. I love that. So Lisa's going to be speaking and writing this week. Yes. Yes. Melissa, you're going to track your time spent writing. Yes. What we track increases. Money, time, love, opportunities. Susan's going to track how many vignettes for your book you write this week. I love that, Susan. Yes. Courtney is tracking actions, not the outcomes, being open to the unexpected door. Yes, I love this. I love doing this on Monday together, because when I used to teach a course called Double Your Productivity for writers way, way back. And we would, as soon as we started tracking, everyone's productivity just, because what we track increases. And also there's a little bit of like, even if it's just to ourselves, I don't want to write 0 at the end of my day, either if I'm tracking writing time, words generated, money earned, pitches sent for speaking. Yeah, we got writing a children's textbook and planning a session in English club. Great. Teresa's traveling, but more aware of what I'm asking for spiritually, looking for signs. Yes, Teresa, your processional effect might be just to track signs this week. Those are my favorite weeks. I love tracking signs. It's so good. You all are awesome. You are absolutely awesome. Next week, we're going to try to go live from New Orleans before our conference begins. We're going to try to do the lounge live. The team's working on just to see if we can, I'm working on that with the venue. So we're going to see if we can do like a thought leader lounge live while we're setting up. You're going to see the behind the scenes, but we're going to talk about, what is it like to be a thought leader leading events, right? So that's what we hope. We'll either do that or we'll do a debrief when we're all back, but that's coming soon. I love hearing your requests. What do you want covered in the lounge? Please put you can put requests in the comments. You can put them here in Zoom, in the chat. If there's something you want us to cover in an upcoming lounge, and I can tell you we have a few guests coming on later this spring that you are going to, I think, enjoy immensely. We're going to talk about the power of being selfish, which is it's going to seem very unlike our values, except there's of course, like a twist. And there's all kinds of stuff. So let us know, please make requests for what we want to cover in the lounge. And I want to hear next time we're together, what showed up? Like Courtney, Lisa, those of you, Margie, everyone who's in here saying, I'm going to track the unexpected opportunities. Because if we wake up in the day and say, ooh, I wonder what that unexpected opportunity is going to be. Guess what? The whole brain, the whole universe is starting to work on unexpected opportunities. It's setting it in motion. You've set it in motion today. So let's end with that. Let's close our eyes. And whatever way feels authentic to you, just let life know you're available. You're available for unexpected miracles, opportunities, manifestations of abundance, just delightful gifts, opportunities to serve and contribute to the people you're here to serve and contribute to. Say, I am open. I'm ready. Let's go. All right. That's the lounge for this week. I'm really excited for us all to go. And even right, if you don't have something in the next 5 minutes, take an action. Take an action right now so that you put this in motion, right? Action, not outcome. Action, not outcome. Yep. Lisa and I were talking about this. We love it. You are amazing. Yes. I'm open, ready. Use me. As Lisa said, let's go big. Let's go big. I will see many of you in 1 week. I'm beside myself. Our team's beside ourselves. We are so excited to see you in New Orleans. If you still want to come, we could probably get you in. Just let us know. And I will see all of you. Safe travels. Teresa, you're already traveling. Margie, you're going to be traveling internationally. Lots of us are traveling from all over the country. And Alexis posted the link. If you do want to get a last minute, one of our remaining few seats, you can grab that. We will see you all there and hopefully be live from New Orleans in the lounge. Have a great week, everybody.